Now to an in-depth discussion about crime in the capital city. Montgomery's Police Chief Jim Graboys joins us in studio here on First at 4 to talk about his department's efforts to make Montgomery safer.
And Chief, you outlined some changes to your department in response to several shootings. One of those was in response to the death of a 13-year-old.
Yes.
You mentioned in that press conference yesterday anger and that was an egregious act. What is the latest on that investigation?
Well, we are following up some very promising leads, and we are working tirelessly on this case. We have been nonstop in it since we started. And of course, without compromising the case, I really can't tell you too much other than that. But I can tell you that I'm very confident in this case because of the leads that we are following. And when I say promising, that means they're active. We are actively following them.
Your officers are working right now to solve this case. Chief, Diamond Moore was sleeping in her home when a bullet came through the window and killed her. That should not happen.
No.
How do you stop something like that?
Well, what you do is, of course, anytime you have a case like this case, and really every homicide case, and this, I want to emphasize this, every homicide case is terrible. This case is terrible. Just before I even came here for an interview, I was having to talk to a mother of a previous victim because it's pain that never goes away for the family. So the thing is that understanding that, you use that as fuel to pursue the case wherever it leads, for however long it takes until you solve it. There are some cases we've solved this year that literally might have happened a couple years ago. You know, there are some cases that we might solve next year that happened this year. I mean, now we try to solve them as quickly as possible, but a lot of times what you have to do is you aggressively pursue information because people will talk to you. Maybe they'll call the secret witness line. Maybe they'll call Crime Stoppers or call us. You aggressively pursue your evidence, processing it, making sure that it might lead you to something that will identify a suspect. You utilize your technology. I mean, we use our cameras very extensively. So you do all of those things and you piece them together to then identify a suspect and then, of course, go out and arrest them. And, of course, then present a case to the DA's office. And we do all of that. Now, the best way I can think of when you talk about prevention, the best way I can think of for prevention is, and this really goes beyond the police department, we need, all of us in this community need to start having some difficult conversations with each other about what we're doing in our lives, what are we pursuing. If you know that there's either a family member or friend who, let's say, is playing with a gun or hanging out with a gun that they really don't need to have, then maybe you need to have a conversation with that person if you care about them to let them know, hey, this is not really acceptable behavior. Or maybe if you're really afraid to do that, you then have a conversation with us to let us know, hey, so-and-so's doing some bad things, maybe to let us be able to handle it before it gets worse. Basically, people are going to have to be involved. If you know somebody, get them to go to church with you. Get them to start getting involved in your actual community because that gives people other alternatives than just, let's say, picking up a gun or letting their anger act out. Now, one thing I'll also say as well, too, is now, depending on the age of the person, get them involved in our police athletic league. Get them involved with the community centers that the mayor has been rebuilding for that purpose, because those community centers are places that young folks can go and actually do positive things. Get them involved if there is, like, you know, the age group for our junior police academy. We also have a Police Explorers program. So I'd say get them involved in other activities that might be more healthy.
So it's definitely going to take all of us working together.
Yes.
Again, I know that yesterday you announced numerous changes that will be happening. Outline some of those changes within MPD, and how do you believe it is going to be effective in a positive manner?
It's got to be effective in a positive manner because the changes are all basically geared towards being interlocking. And what I mean by that is we're going to be working with people's schedules, off days, and assignments so that we can utilize our personnel in an efficient manner towards concentrating them in, let's say, an area that we want to target for extra coverage. We're going to be working with their assignments as well because that works with their training. Now, at the same time, we say we maximize our technology component, because one of the big things I talked about yesterday was our drone program. We are starting a drone program. We've already ordered 4 tactical drones. Those drones are going to be, once we get them and get all our people trained up, we're going to be literally utilizing them daily on our patrol operations to help identify and pursue suspects, which is really going to make things even faster. Because they have some great capabilities. So that goes in with, well, if you're concentrating people with your assignment changes, you're utilizing your drones to make them even more effective, then that also means to more arrests and safer neighborhoods. The other thing that we're talking about, and this is a big part of it too, we've started an exhibition driving detail, because a lot of times criminals drive in ways that might draw our attention. So when you have an exhibition driving detail that we're also going to be targeting in various areas based on our traffic reports and things like that, we're going to be going after all those moving violations related to the people who are misusing their cars or using their cars in a dangerous manner. Now, we've already started those operations on our exhibition driving detail, so we're seeing some definite results on that, both in an increase in our moving violations and an increase in the tickets, and that's really showing some effect. Another thing we're doing in relation to that is, and people should be aware of that, we're going to be doing a checkpoint. So be aware, we're going to, in fact, I would not be surprised if there wasn't a checkpoint out and about tomorrow at some point, because we are going to be doing those checkpoints to make sure that we can either slow traffic down at certain places, but at the same time, you know, when people go through these things, you never know, a criminal still has to go through that as well. And so that makes us more efficient and maybe taking some bad actors off the streets. And that's really just a little bit of it.
You mentioned exhibition driving, speed race.
Right.
Racing, as some people call it. The mayor yesterday sent out a text. He posted on Facebook asking for feedback from the community about what they would like to see. That was one of the suggestions. Another was a curfew. Is that in discussion, or would it be effective in your opinion?
Curfews, they can be effective, but at the same time now, and this is very important, we don't write the ordinances for the city. So that's actually something that would fall under the city council. And then anything the city council comes up with, then we are charged with enforcing it. So I would say that's a conversation that people might want to have with their, their respective representatives.
Chief Graboys, thank you so much for joining us on First at 4. We really do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be right back with more First at 4 after the break. Stay with us.